Mr. Ye is pressing on that Hebrew Israelite story, culture, in order to impress upon his community that he feels he's a leader of, to impress upon his people that they have a quality of royalty.
In hospitals today, they would tell a black mother that the baby not finna come out today because we are inside. Us as 12 tribes of Judah, as a member of the Hebrew people.
First of all, welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel Abelo. I'm a multimedia artist, Jewish man, a mystic. And so yesterday I listened to the interview, and I just want to say off the bat, before I get into his mentions of Jewishness, of the Hebrews, whatever else, Kanye is my soul brother. We're connected to the same root. He and I are connected as souls, and I value and honor this man. And here's a prayer. May he have continued creativity and health, and discover and develop his path of leadership and influence towards positivity, peace, and unity in this world. Many of the ideas that he puts forth to the algorithm in this interview are fantastic, but I'm going to focus here on his mentions of the Jews and also of the Hebrew sort of concept of the Hebrews as related to Black Israelites. And he mentions Moses quite a lot in this interview, and I'm not going to pick up on every single one of those. I'm just going to pick a few sort of standout moments and comment on them. So again, whatever, intellectually I might have to respond to certain mentions of the Jews, at the end of the day, this guy, Ye, is very respectful and admiring towards Jewish culture, and I admire him greatly, creatively, as a leader, as a transmitter and an innovator in culture, and obviously as a business person as well. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
First of all, the way God is, we already got, what do we call them, bed nurses? All right, so this is like when you go and get your ultrasound, they tell you if your baby's gonna come out, okay. In hospitals today, they would tell a black mother that the baby not gonna come out today because we are inside. Us as 12 tribes of Judah, as a member of the Hebrew people, we are still inside of our genocide. 50% of all black deaths a year is abortion.
Okay, I'm gonna leave his statement there as it is. That's his claim about the deaths of black kids in this country. The only thing I'm gonna respond to here is very specific. What is the connection to Exodus? And I have to say that he's grasping it perfectly. The Exodus and the Jews' slavery in Egypt represents an archetype, is symbolic according to the Hasidic understanding, the Hasidus level, of all slavery that is at will and can ever exist and has ever existed in mankind. In other words, the Jewish slavery in Egypt is symbolic, according to Hasidus, of all slavery that has ever existed and is still sort of existing, even on a subtle level or in any sort of way. In other words, for one group to oppress another group, to hold down the humanity of another group, is symbolically represented in that story. And in this story, in the book of Exodus, in the Torah of Moses, we see that the God of the Jewish people, the God of Israel, values human freedom. In other words, it's made very clear that no people has the right to oppress or to diminish the autonomy of anybody else. And the Pharaoh in that story is obstinate towards the obvious fact that nature, God, whatever you want to call it, the universe is saying, no, this is not right. You can't keep these people any longer. Moses is going to come tell you there's going to be plagues. You got to let these people go. It's the archetypal representation of the fact that slavery is wrong. So I responded to that in particular. Now, in that same little bit there, okay, Kanye says, speaking of the black people, now this is an additional claim in this little bit that I'm going to address. Kanye also says that the blacks, that he's speaking of black people, we as the tribe of Judah, as the Israelites, let's get it one more time.
Us as 12 tribes of Judah, as a member of the Hebrew people.
So let's break that down. As far as I understand, and you can look up scholarly literature like the book The Legends of the Jews, I believe, and my readings indicate, that it's really from Solomon, King Solomon, the Jewish king, his relationship with Sheba, the Queen of the North, a place in North Africa, which we might call Ethiopia today. That King Solomon's relationship with this Queen of the North, the Black Queen Sheba, later led to a great sense of Jewish identity amongst African peoples. Now, there are other threads that interlock into this that I cover in my video, How Are the Rastafari and Hebrews Connected? So if you want to know really more in depth about those threads, I will point you there and also in the description. However, let's just say generally there are legends and folklore about the connection between the Jews and the Africans or the black people in diaspora. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the Jews and the blacks have a strong connection. And it's obvious for Kanye West, at least, like in the Rastafari, who I referenced in my video, that he recognizes the Jews as a people, like myself, and my ancestors, and the people, who live in Israel today. But he's also sort of claiming and saying, and at least psychologically identifying himself with the Jews. And maybe as a lost tribe, as a people that had once been Jewish or had connected to Torah, connected to the Hebrew identity, connected to Jewish life, and had been lost, had through slavery, through diaspora, been lost from that, but there's a psychological desire to reclaim that. Now that, when you mix in and you add on the Christian layer and the Christian culture of America and black Christian culture in America, you get a whole nother set of circumstances and understandings to parse through, which I'm not going to do here. But it's suffice to say for now that Mr. Ye is pressing on that folklore, that Hebrew Israelite legend, story, culture, aspect of black culture that I am very familiar with, and in order to impress upon audiences and community, and his community that he feels he's a leader of, to impress upon his people that they have a quality of royalty. And that's the best way to say it, that they are chosen by God. They're like princes and princesses, as it says, in the books of Moses, quite frequently, that the Jewish people are chosen, that the leaders are like princes, and the daughters of Zion, or the women of Israel are so respected and dignified. And I think that that's really what he's doing here. It's a motif. It's a cultural motif, and he's an artist and a contemporary leader. So that's what I make of that reference, but I do think it's an important reference. Right here.
That when we don't have that love, like a kibbutz, this white organization, Chicago State University, and it separated me from my best friend. So I had to grow up around people who didn't understand me, who didn't love me. People was looking at me as an opportunity since I was 14 because I was a prodigy. I've been had industry friends, so to say, oh, we're going to go over here and we're going to get some beats out this nigga. We're going to go this type of, because my mom separated me for the opportunity of more money. Society is set up to have people go away to college, go away here, and in between your dorm room and your college, or in between your hometown and where you got to go to school, it's going to be a bunch of liquor stores. It's going to be a bunch of strip clubs. It's going to be a bunch of malls. It's going to be a bunch of things that we do that when we don't have that love, like a kibbutz. We need Christian kibbutz. We can have communities, be as close. Kibbutz, like Jewish people have this type of circular community.
Like a community center?
No, it's like where they live and where we need to live, where the grandparents can take care of the kids. It's better to have a grandparent taking care of the kids than a nanny.
All right, so right there, really great mention referencing Jewish culture. The kibbutz is a communal living place developed in Israel, in the land of Israel. As far as I understand, I'm not an expert on the subject, but Jews, when they got the land of Israel and they started building it up, they had the concept of having a kibbutz, and people would get together and people would farm and people would, work and grow vegetables and make food, and other people would contribute what they had to contribute. And you basically had these communal living centers, which lowers the cost of living and allows children to be taken care of by a communal, set of adult influences. And yeah, there's this strong sense of community, both in the religious tradition of the Jews, but also in secular Zionism and sort of modern iterations of Judaism that you see in the kibbutz. And there's a major theme here in Kanye's interview where he's talking about community and the necessity for community. And so to pick up on the kibbutz is an interesting example. The idea of the commune, the idea of working together and having a sense of nationhood and identity and communal welfare. Next.
This is not artist. This is not just CEO level.
One second. Okay, you gonna say something genius. That's what I'm saying. I'm a community builder. I'm gonna put together the right people at all times. But the people that have in the past been in a position of power gonna try to separate Jay and Dame, separate my mom and my dad, separate me and Virgil. You get me? See the pattern? That makes it impossible for Black Wall Street. But Wall Street, forever begins simply because I thought about it the way Common said. I thought of our community growing where we're not forced to make the choice of whether or not we can afford to have a child. We're not forced to say, I'm gonna have to kill this nigga because he said this and this. You never hear about Jewish on Jewish crime. They kill each other in business in a different kind of way, but not actually physically taking a life. So when me and Q went into business on a big three.
So right here he mentions Jewish on Jewish crime. You never see Jewish on Jewish crime. And maybe we'll get to it. He also mentions that the Jews in America, even though they're such a minority, they have they take their common set of interests and apply leverage to the political system as a group and for the group. And so what he's really talking about here, though, was you don't see Jewish on Jewish murder. You don't see Jewish on Jewish crime like that. It's another example of his using the Jews as an aspirational group, as an aspirational fellow minority who has experienced oppression by the more dominant groups, either in Europe or America. So is it true that you don't see Jewish on Jewish crime? I think that is true. I think that Jews really do value peace. It's a major part of the Torah. If you can not get anything else from the Torah, it's treat others how you like to treat yourself. Love thy neighbor. And I think he's drawing upon the Jews as an example of a people who have a strong influence from the Bible, from the Jewish Bible, what the Christians call the Old Testament, and the values that instills in a certain group of people that he sees as important and worth looking at. I'm not going to comment on Black culture specifically, but obviously in this interview, it's apparent that Kanye is encouraging. Kanye is talking a lot about Black community here, and he sees himself as a leader trying to shift certain ideas and just affect change in a positive way, and I wish him all the best with that.
chord. When I go and say something that's about Drake, about John Legend, I'm just tuning the note so that we can play a symphony.
I'm glad you keep going. I'll be scared to stop you now, man.
Well, I just want to say there, when he's talking about tuning the notes so that we can, like, each individual is a part of a symphony orchestra, is that it's very much connected to the Jewish archetype of the Messianic redemption and the era of redemption in which there's a great unity across the world. And this is seen in the prophets. In Isaiah, it says, you know, the wolf will dwell with the lamb, and that all the nations will come and gather in Israel for the festival of Sukkot. So this idea that everyone has their role to play if we do it with righteousness and we have freedom, and that's really the vision of utopia and of unification that's seen in the messianic redemption of the Torah. And I think that Kanye West, whatever his sources are, if he's paying attention to scripture, he's having conversations with religious people, you know, this longing that's picked up into Christianity or in other folklores or legends or stories that and discussions around this archetype, you know, he's into it. And I think that Ye has a cunning, sophisticated, and really integrated, grounded understanding of what it means to be redemptive, and to take what could be seen as sinful or a shortcoming or something confusing and has a sense of lostness into the domain of a solution, of a new meaning, of a way forward. And that there's a beautiful part of the interview where he talks about redemption and the redemptive quality that can be of a lyric or a concept that can be brought into a song. So with that last note on redemption, that's going to be it for me today. So this video, I hope, is relevant to subscribers who had seen my previous video about the 12 tribes of Israel and how I've, you know, looked at an immense amount of literature and the current events surrounding all this, and tried to creatively organize a way in which people can identify themselves in the 12 tribes. And I plan to do a video soon that will clarify the way in which someone might be. If they feel like they are truly an Israelite, they should go through a conversion process to really incorporate and transform oneself into a full-fledged Jew and a member of the tribe. But that needs to be differentiated from those who feel a spiritual, psychological, or any other sort of connection to what the Hebrews and the Jews represent, either in religious terms or cultural terms. And the concept of the Noahide, which are 7 universal laws that are described in the Torah and our oral tradition, the Talmud, 7 very universal laws that any man and woman and can follow, that influence and would support community and societies. I think Ye would be very interested in learning more about the Noahide laws. So stay tuned, subscribe, like this video, comment below. Let's make this go viral. Let's, you know, like let's get Kanye to check out this video. Let's see what would Kanye say to this video. So thanks for listening. My name's Samuel Abelo. I have a lot of gratitude towards Ye for doing this interview and just putting out all that energy to influence the algorithm. And I'm here, you know, just adding my response to what I know and what's relevant towards my channel and my subscribers. So thanks so much.